Sometimes it's hard to say you're gonna try. And sometimes it's hard to say you're gonna make it. And sometimes it's hard to say you're gonna try. We were friends with this song during my high school education. But the moment I realized that I could choose to look at the stars and the future rather than the darkness that often surrounded those frustrating moments, my perception of being alone in a crowd changed. And I will tell you why. I joined a prominent girls' school in my home district in Uganda after studying my primary education at a village school. And I remember my first week in that school. Every time I stood up to say my name and that of my previous school, almost everybody laughed. And I had no idea why. And sometimes it made me feel like I was in a wrong place. But let's think about it. My name, Savannah. Kind of weird. And that of my previous school, Wumbire. Now let me break this down for you. Mbire is a specific type of banana from which our local beer back at home is made. What a combination. Can you imagine students from upper classes sending for me only to say, "We just wanted to see you. So you are the Savannah." Oh my God, they made me a tourist attraction. And for sure, that experience had the potential to make me either quit that school or become so timid. But I decided to embrace that odd me, that weird me, that strange me. And after making that decision, I felt an energy within me that I could do anything that I wanted. After all, everybody had already categorized me as odd. I remember that year, they introduced soccer in school. And I joined, and later became the team captain. Unfortunately, towards the end of the year, my dad could no longer afford the school fees, and so the famous Savannah was sent home almost in the middle of every term to collect school fees. And that was frustrating. In my hopelessness, though, the administration decided to offer me a bursary, and that's how I kept in that school. So in Form 3, they introduced additional mathematics, and I wanted to try it. But having grown up with a musical mother, I wanted to study music too. Yet, additional mathematics and music were taught in parallel. So, odd as I was, this is what I did. I attended lessons for music and copied notes for additional mathematics. I later encouraged one other soccer player to join me, and she did. And we passed music with distinctions and additional mathematics with credits. Now, that's not important. The important thing is we followed our dream, even alone. So after O-level, I had to make choices of schools I wanted to go to for A-level. And of course, I passionately wanted to go back to my school. I mean, I was famous there. Yes. So I've never told my dad this, that my greatest motivation to going to this school was soccer and music. And so when I went to collect my results for O-level, one of the administrators told me that the bursary was only for O-level. Now, that was frustrating. I felt like my world had come to an end because I had no idea where I was going to get school fees from. Now, between my home and the school, it's about 6 to 7 kilometers. And as I walked home, I remembered those days when I walked that distance to and fro to collect school fees during my early years in that school. And for sure, I couldn't imagine myself not going back. So I reached home and told Dad and Mom about the sad news. And of course, my dad, hardworking as he is, he started getting me a place at a school, a private school, which was also good. And the director was his friend. But I did not want to go there. I remember the day before reporting back to school, my dad and I had not agreed on where I was going the following day for my A-level. And I was at the crossroads, and I knew I was alone in this. But I walked to my dad and said, "Dad, if I go to my school tomorrow and they chase me, I will come back and go to that private school." Now, I could tell my dad was not happy, but I had said it. So the following morning, surprisingly, my dad told my mom to write a letter requesting my head teacher to allow me in school even when I did not have school fees. And that was exciting. I remember I ran to the nearby trading center and bought books and pens and soap. Of course, I knew there was no money. So I told my dad I would buy the rest of the things at school. So my dad gave me about 10,000 Ugandan shillings, that's about 40 rand. But even then, I was ready to go back to school. So we hired a cyclist to carry my suitcase to school while Mom and I walked there. Now, as a new A-level student, there was a long list of things I was supposed to carry with me. But remember, my shopping had been a very brief one. So as I joined the queue for registration, my mom pulled out the letter regarding my school fees. And I asked her to keep it in the meantime. So when my time to register came, we first had a little chat with my teacher. But as we chatted, you can imagine what was going on in my mind. I was waiting for the moment. So she brought out the long list and started reading. So she asked me for the textbook, and I told her, I don't have it. The ream of paper, I don't have it. The whole, I don't have it, teacher. She looked at me, and there broke out a moment of silence for about a minute. And I had no idea what to expect. And then she asked, "On which bursary were you?" And of course I told her in a much louder voice. And guess what? She registered me. I have no idea how she explained herself registering a student on an expired bursary. But all I know is that that term, I did not pay even a single coin for school fees. And the terms that followed, I was paying a dynamic amount of school fees, which was not even half of what everybody else was paying. Now, you can call me stubborn, or opportunistic, or illogical, but I know that I may be here today because of that one radical step that I took, regardless of the despair that surrounded it. By the way, I was admitted to study physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology. No music, my motivation. So I thought of trying my trick again. This time, while everybody went for biology, I went for music, dance, and drama. And I think by the time the administration realized that I was doing music and not biology, it was too late for them to force me there. So I ended up being the only student in the school doing that combination of subjects: physics, chemistry, mathematics, and music. For sure, my story can go on and on and on. But as a young girl who had grown up in a Christian home, all I was doing was exercising my faith. I knew that faith as small as a mustard seed could move a mountain. But little did I know that I was tuning my mind to a certain philosophy. That our mindset in moments when we feel all alone determines how we get out of it. Some get out of it shattered, hopeless, and depressed, even to the point of committing suicide, while others come out of it happy, triumphant, victorious, or even full of an extraordinary confidence. So what's the difference? Now, oftentimes, we do not want to believe that we are all alone. We want to shun it and believe that there is someone for us. Now, this is dangerous, because if it turns out that there is none, that's when depression sets in and the rest that come with it. I hope you're not thinking that the captain of a soccer team is preaching individualism here. No, I am not. We all know that to overcome isolation, one needs to be a member of a group and connect, just as we were told today. But we also know that it's within these very groups that certain structures and norms that limit our potential are constructed. Norms that create in us the fear of our own uniqueness. To overcome this fear, we need to be aware of and embrace our oddness. After all, we are all unique. Have you ever wondered why the bad guys often get whatever they set out to get? Be it the most beautiful girl in town? They are aware of the fact that they are odd, and they embrace it. And this gives them the energy to try, even if everybody else has quit. It also prepares them for any outcome. How many of us have heard of Planck's constant in physics or in chemistry? I'm happy there are a few hands. Now let me tell you about Max Planck. At the age of 10, he changed his name. Now that was too young. And later in life, he got in touch with a physics professor who said to him, in this field, almost everything has already been discovered. And all that remains is filling just a few holes. Of course, Max had, but followed his dream and studied physics. And guess what? Today we know him as the father of quantum theory. And so I believe that each one of us has a great, unique passion, but which can make us odd, or even push us to that place of loneliness. Some of us may have given up on our passion because of society norms and traditions, because of the fear of rejection, and the many eyes of disapproval out there around us. But today, I would like to share with you the words of Max Planck. He said, a new scientific theory does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it. I believe him. To make a difference in our lives and in the lives of many, we need to be ready to stand alone if need be. And oftentimes, being odd is inevitable. The secret is embrace that oddness. Neil Turok called his dream for the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences an ambitious dream. Yes, we need those ambitious dreams and odd people to carry them. I'm glad that I'm a product of that ambitious dream, but all because the Turok family acknowledged and embraced the fact that they were almost alone carrying this dream. And so my desire is that we all embrace and acknowledge our oddness, our uniqueness, because it is only then that we will be able to exploit our full potential for the betterment of this, our African continent, and the whole universe at large. If you are there and you still need someone to cheer you up as you journey to embrace your uniqueness, just remember me, because I'll be right in the shadows. Thank you.